And at that meeting, did Mr. Giuliani raise any specific allegations of election fraud again?
His initial comments were, again, the litany of groups of illegal individuals or people deceased, etc. And he had brought that up. And then I proceeded to question him on the proof that he was going to bring me, etc. He did ask, do we have the proof, to Jenna, Miss Ellis? And she said, yes, we have all the information. I said, can you get to me that information? Did you bring it with you? She said, no, both Mr. Giuliani asked her and I asked generally if they'd brought it with them. She said, no, it's not with me, but we can get it to you. And I said, then you didn't bring me the evidence.
Did one of them make a comment that they didn't have evidence, but they had a lot of theories?
That was Mr. Giuliani. My counsel both remembered that specifically, and afterwards we kind of laughed about it.
There's Arizona House Speaker, Republican House Speaker Rusty Bowers. They're talking about the election scheme again that was going on and ongoing. Yesterday's part of their hearings were talking about how this scheme then turned to trying to push fake electors and to get all of these officials of each of these states, in only those particular states that he wanted to win, to get them to flip these votes and go with these electors. Now, Rudy Giuliani was one of these main players in this, as we heard him mention over and over and over again. And their plan was to ask him to replace these electors, as we heard what was happening in Arizona. But this one particular House leader decided not to. So he's getting praise. We'll get back to that in a little bit. But there was more that Rudy Giuliani was trying to tell Rusty to do. Let's watch more.
And getting back to the ask in that phone call that preceded this meeting, he wanted you to have the legislature dismiss the Biden electors and replace them with Trump electors on the basis of these theories of fraud?
He did not say it in those exact words, but he did say that Arizona law, according to what he understood, that would be allowed, and that we needed to come into session to take care of that, which initiated a discussion about, again, what I can legally and not legally do, and I can't go into session in Arizona unilaterally or on my sole prerogative.
In this meeting or at any other later time, did anyone provide you with evidence of election fraud sufficient to affect the outcome of the presidential election in Arizona?
No one provided me ever such evidence.
He went on to say, to this day, I've still received no such evidence. Again, so he asked over and over again. Rudy Giuliani said, we've got evidence, we've got evidence. Because can you give it to me before I do this for you, which would be absolutely outside of any of my purview for legal action. And Giuliani promised more and more information. That information never, ever came. So really fast, guys, before we get into this, I was going to show you guys what could have been if he had then fallen behind these declarations or these suggestions given by Rudy Giuliani for him to do. So back in February, Bowers, again there, would squash a bill that would allow the legislature in Arizona to overturn the election results back in February. If he passed this is what would have happened. So House Bill 2596, which was introduced by conservative state rep John Fillmore last month, was intended to curb no excuse early voting in order that every ballot be counted by hand no later than 24 hours after precincts close on election day. However, the bill also afforded increased oversight of elections to lawmakers, allowing the legislature to nullify election results from legislative races, along with congressional and statewide contests. They were trying to flip everything on his head. Only thing that was missing, was the evidence. And as they pointed out, Rudy Giuliani did say, we have all these theories, we just need some evidence. It's mid 2022, there's still no evidence.
Yeah, that was actually one of the more satisfying parts of yesterday's hearing for me. It's like the whole time we've been hearing about all this election fraud, everyone's been asking, where's the evidence? No one has seen any evidence. And they keep saying the evidence is there, the evidence is there. And so we're all just being collectively gaslit, being told one thing and then not actually seeing any proof of it, right? And so to have this guy on the stand testifying that he also asked for evidence, was told that he might get some eventually, but then Rudy Giuliani was just like, no, we have theories, we don't have evidence. And then he was just like, what am I supposed to do with that, So it did feel good knowing that there is no evidence, like it's just there out there for everyone to see. But unfortunately, I don't know if that message is going to get to certain people who are very, very ardent Trump supporters. I was just on Twitter this morning and somebody there was talking about the 2,000 mules, which has been debunked repeatedly several times within the hearings itself. And somebody said, really, give me a name of one of these mules. And he just said, no, thank you. So I don't know.
You know what? I'd rather not. It's just, I don't feel like it this morning. A name, whatever. There's 2,000 of them. I just can't come up with anything at all.
Not a single one, no.
This is the approach. We've seen all the things that were on the surface as these all went down, but what we're finding out from these committee hearings is things behind the scenes that actually very much match up with what we're talking about. We saw those 18, 20 court cases that they lost with Rudy Giuliani at the helm. We see now why they lost them. We knew they lost them. We knew they had nothing. And now we're seeing that they knew they had nothing. They knew it was all just a fraud case to push, again, to that violence that eventually went down.